Egypt is not simply a country with a long past. It is one of humanity's oldest continuous stories, a place where people have lived, adapted, and evolved for thousands of years without a complete break in civilization. To understand Egypt is not only to study monuments or dynasties, but to understand how geography, belief, and human ingenuity came together to create one of the foundations of the modern world. Long before pyramids rose from the desert, long before kings wore crowns, early human communities moved through the Nile Valley following water, animals, and seasonal rhythms. Archaeological evidence shows that humans lived in this region tens of thousands of years ago, long before Egypt existed as a unified land. These early peoples laid the groundwork for what would become one of history's most influential civilizations. The Nile River shaped everything. Flowing through otherwise unforgiving desert, it created a narrow corridor of life stretching from Central Africa to the Mediterranean Sea. Each year, the river flooded its banks, depositing fertile silt that renewed the soil. This predictable cycle allowed early Egyptians to develop agriculture, store surplus food, and support permanent settlements instead of seasonal camps. As farming communities grew, villages formed along the Nile's course. Crops such as wheat and barley were cultivated, animals were domesticated, and trade networks began to connect different regions of the valley. These early Egyptians learned cooperation, planning, and shared labor, all of which became essential traits of Egyptian society. The river was not only a resource, but a teacher. Over time, regional cultures developed in Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. Though geographically different, these regions were deeply connected by the Nile. They shared religious ideas, artistic styles, and economic systems, yet they remained politically separate. This division would later shape Egypt's earliest struggles for unity and power. Around 3100 BCE, one of the most important events in Egyptian history occurred: the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. Traditionally attributed to a ruler known as Nama, this moment marked the birth of the Egyptian state. It created centralized authority, organized governance, and a shared national identity that would endure for millennia. The newly unified kingdom required order, and Egyptians believed that order was sacred. This belief took the form of Ma'at, a concept representing truth, balance, harmony, and justice. Egyptians believed the universe itself depended on Ma'at, and that human society must reflect it. This idea would shape law, morality, religion, and leadership throughout Egyptian history. At the center of this system stood the pharaoh. More than a king, the pharaoh was believed to be a divine figure chosen by the gods to maintain Ma'at on earth. His success or failure was thought to directly affect floods, harvests, and national stability. Leadership in Egypt was therefore both political and spiritual in nature. With strong leadership and stable agriculture, Egypt entered what historians call the Old Kingdom. This era saw the development of monumental architecture, including the pyramids. These structures were not merely tombs, but symbols of religious belief, engineering skill, and social organization. They represented a society capable of mobilizing thousands of skilled workers toward a shared vision. Contrary to long-held myths, the pyramids were not built by enslaved populations. Archaeological evidence shows that they were constructed by paid laborers, artisans, and seasonal workers who took pride in their contributions. These builders were fed, housed, and honored, reflecting a society that valued collective effort and religious purpose. Egyptian society was complex and hierarchical, yet not rigidly closed. Farmers formed the backbone of the economy, while scribes, trained in reading and writing, held prestigious positions in administration. Craftsmen, merchants, soldiers, and priests all played essential roles. Remarkably, women in ancient Egypt enjoyed legal rights uncommon in other ancient civilizations. Religion permeated every aspect of Egyptian life. Gods were believed to exist everywhere, influencing nature, health, fertility, and fate. Deities such as Ra, Osiris, Isis, and Horus represented cosmic forces as well as deeply human concerns. Religious rituals connected people to the divine and reinforced shared values across generations. One of Egypt's most powerful beliefs was the idea of the afterlife. Egyptians believed that life continued beyond death, and that moral behavior determined one's fate in the next world. This belief inspired practices such as mummification, funerary texts, and elaborate tombs, all designed to preserve identity and memory beyond mortality. As centuries passed, Egypt faced periods of instability caused by environmental changes, internal conflict, and weakened leadership. These eras, known as intermediate periods, disrupted central authority but did not destroy Egyptian culture. Instead, they tested the resilience of the population and forced adaptations that strengthened society in the long term. Following these challenges, Egypt entered the Middle Kingdom, a period of renewed unity and cultural flourishing. Literature became more expressive, addressing themes of justice, responsibility, and human suffering. Trade expanded beyond Egypt's borders, bringing new ideas and resources. This era shows Egyptians reflecting deeply on leadership and social responsibility. The new kingdom marked Egypt's rise as an imperial power. Military campaigns expanded its influence into Nubia and the eastern Mediterranean. Pharaohs such as Hatshepsut and Ramesses II invested heavily in temples, monuments, and diplomacy. Egypt became a dominant force, respected and feared by neighboring civilizations. Despite imperial ambition, everyday life remained central to Egyptian identity. Workers lived in planned communities, families passed down traditions, and artisans refined techniques in art and construction. Even during periods of expansion, Egyptian culture emphasized continuity, tradition, and connection to the land rather than constant transformation. Over time, Egypt's power declined, and foreign rulers gained control. Libyans, Nubians, Assyrians, and Persians all ruled Egypt at different times. Yet remarkably, these rulers often adopted Egyptian customs, religion, and titles. Egypt's cultural strength proved more enduring than political dominance. In 332 BCE, Alexander the Great entered Egypt, beginning the Greek Ptolemaic period. Alexandria became a center of knowledge, science, and philosophy. Greek and Egyptian traditions blended, producing advances in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Still, the majority of Egyptians retained their own language and customs. The reign of Cleopatra VII marked the end of pharaonic Egypt. After her death, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. Its grain fed Rome, while Egyptian religious ideas spread throughout the Mediterranean world. Even under foreign rule, Egypt continued shaping global culture and belief systems. During late antiquity, Christianity spread across Egypt, leading to the development of the Coptic Church. This new religious identity blended older Egyptian traditions with Christian theology. Monasticism flourished, influencing Christian practices far beyond Egypt's borders and leaving a lasting spiritual legacy. In the 7th century CE, Arab Muslim forces entered Egypt, introducing Islam and the Arabic language. Over time, Islam became the dominant faith, and Arabic replaced earlier languages. Cairo emerged as a major center of learning, trade, and governance within the Islamic world. Under the Mamluks and later the Ottoman Empire, Egypt remained strategically vital despite foreign rule. Its location connected Africa, Asia, and Europe, making it a hub of commerce and scholarship. Egyptian society continued evolving while preserving its deep historical roots. The modern era brought European intervention, including Napoleon's invasion in 1798. Though brief, it triggered global fascination with ancient Egypt. The decoding of hieroglyphs allowed Egyptians to rediscover their own ancient voices, transforming history from myth into readable human record. British occupation in the late 19th century introduced modernization alongside exploitation. Infrastructure expanded, but economic inequality deepened. Egyptian nationalism grew stronger, fueled by a desire for independence, dignity, and control over national destiny. In 1952, Egypt became a republic, marking a turning point in modern history. Leaders such as Gamal Abdel Nasser promoted national identity, industrial development, and regional influence. Projects like the Aswan High Dam symbolized humanity's changing relationship with the Nile. Today, Egypt stands as a nation shaped by layers of history rather than a single era. Its people are heirs to ancient farmers, scribes, builders, and thinkers. Egypt's story is not frozen in the past, but actively lived by millions navigating the present. This video marks only the beginning. In the next episode, we will explore Egypt's empires, invasions, and defining turning points in far greater detail. If you enjoyed this journey, let us know by liking the video, and tell us in the comments which country you want the World Atlas Project to explore next. Your country could be next. And this story, like all human history, is still unfolding.